Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we talk about the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Oh man, it is a nice Thursday outside. I need to get my trash out for the trash man to come get it for Friday, so I don't have to do it. Yeah. It's been an interesting week for me for a couple of reasons. One, I primarily had, I've gotten my team ready for the Tulsa Rock, and I got it also narrowed down, and I have one map I still need to pick, and it's like, come on, this should be easy. And it's like, no, this map, when I tested on it that I thought would be obvious, didn't work. And it's like, no. So, the frustrations, the frustrations. Then, what else? Then you go on to like, okay, Target announces that they will be laying people off. So I ended up reading that article on, I think, NBC or something. And it's like, oh, gosh. I'm hoping it's just at headquarters. And then you get the opposite ironic news that my store is hiring. And I laugh because they've cut my hours, but we're hiring. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. It's INSOC. It's double speak. It's like everything is fine even though the world's on fire. Everything's fine even though the world's on fire. So that's just some stuff that's like bubbling. Had some dates, so it's great. That part's great. Good fun stuff. So other than that, we're going to go into today's show. Now, today's show is primarily going to be focused on two major parts. One is what's in your head map selection, and two is going to be about common things that you're going to start seeing in the meta just because of Justice League Trinity War coming out. I know some of you are like, man, I'm still playing Sealed, dog. Give me some Sealed advice. Go to HC Realms for that. I really don't do Sealed advice because I hate Sealed. I disdain it. I was stupid enough to go and play Sealed last weekend, and I pulled so bad. Oh gosh, it was so horrible. It was so horrible. Okay. Let's get crack-a-lacking. What goes through your head? Why are you picking the map that you're picking? Now, most of the time when people pick map, they're picking it because of one of the following four reasons. It's a new map. Or I like this map. This map has hindering. This map has blocking and walls. This map has water. That's it. It's four simple reasons why people pick map. None of them are good. Just none of them are good off the bat for how simple they are. And if you listen to this show long enough, you should know you should be bringing your own maps, and you should know what maps your team is fighting on. Okay? So if you're able to win map, you're like, bam, we're playing here. No questions. It's just, we're playing here. Yeah. So, okay. Now, because we know, like, A, hey, where we're playing, and then B, it's like, okay, what type of team we have. It's easy to, navigate your tactics from there. So let's go into that A, where we're playing. Now, if you have a format where it's like everybody plays on this map, then yeah, you just build your team for that map. So it doesn't matter. What we're mainly looking at is I build a team and I have the option of bringing in maps. So the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is this. Does the tempo that I have designed for my team work on this map? Does the tempo that I've designed for this team work on this map? Now, a lot of times people don't do that. They don't even know the tempo of their team. So let's say, for example, tempo of my team is I have a Void who's able to carry a bunch of my guys, and I have a bunch of like melee poison guys that can't be targeted because I have the Indigo battery or something like that. Okay, cool. All right, now my tempo might be, hey, wait 2 turns so that I'm able to get, at least 2 constructs out that are real important, the wall and maybe like the nurse or the decoy or something like that. So that as I advance, I'm able to, put up my wall, protect myself so that I can get in close. All right, so that means that I have like a turn 2-ish, turn 3 deployment. Now I can deploy early, but I also know I can fairly well get shot or, hypersonic speed up and smacked. Okay, so because of that, I need to be aware of my tempo. Now, if I pick an open map and I need to like slowly approach, that's dumb. If you're like, oh my gosh, they have the stealths. No, you don't pick an open map. It doesn't matter if they have the stealths. You have poison. You're going to be on top of them. Now, if you had a run and gun team and then all of a sudden you pick ranks and you don't have Bill, Agent of AIM on your team, it's the same thing. It's like, why? Why are you picking this map? Okay, so again, my tempo. If I have a team and my team is designed for me to TK out 8 squares, have somebody else hypersonic speed out, 17 squares, smack you, and then run back, then yeah, I need to have a map that's open so that I can do that. If I fail to do that, guess what? There's problems. Okay? Now, so like I said, the first thing that we're looking at is tempo. Why is the tempo working out the way it works out? Okay? Is the way the map is designed, does that slow me down? Does it allow my tempo to stay on the pace that I want it? Okay? Does the map force my tempo to go faster? Okay, this is the other end of it. Okay? And some people are like, well, wow, this map just puts, a hyperdrive into my team. And it's good, it can be good or bad, and here's why. So let's say we have a map full of water, and then your team is like, I'm able to have a Lantian watery team, and guys get plus stats, and then I can't be targeted unless you're adjacent to me, and I have great attack values if I do melee and whatnot. And you're like, yes, Atlantis map. Blah, I screw you over so bad, and now my team's boss. It puts a hyperdrive in my team. I got plus stats on everybody, and I can't be targeted, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you've done that, and you're like, this is the best thing that could have happened to me. Well, yes and no. Yes, your stats are better. But no, if you're going at a faster pace, and you're forcing a level of aggression that really your team wasn't designed for, just because you're more capable, that can be a bad thing. It's called like the problem of success. You can succeed in things that ultimately will hurt you. And this isn't failure. And it's like, no, you actually pursue something that's legitimate and are successful, but having and maintaining that success eventually, brings you low. So if you have this, like, I can't be attacked unless you're adjacent. I'm charging. Your whole team is a bunch of, chargers. And it's like, yeah, I got a whole bunch of plus stats. Charge. Yeah, gotcha. And then all of a sudden, the guy's like, well, I couldn't hit you before because you were not adjacent to me. Now you're right here. So I can draw a line of fire to you, outwit your super duper aqua powers, and KO you one by one. So again, be mindful of your tempo. Okay, so that's the next thing. All right, so we're going to go on to the third element that we need to be mindful about when we're picking maps. Is this: and this is my problem currently right now that I'm dealing with. If if my opponent picks either side of the map, am I screwed? Just purely, am I screwed? And this happens. We do have asymmetrical maps, people, okay, specifically for this reason, okay? So, if I look at a map and I like this map, if I'm specifically here, I win. If I'm specifically there, I lose. It's not a map for you, okay? A lot of people were like, well, yeah, it's got a lot of blocking terrain. A lot of blocking terrain, a lot of blocking terrain, a lot of blocking terrain. And I got the hypersonic speeds, so I need that blocking terrain, that blocking terrain, that blocking terrain. And it's like, well, no. It's probably not the best, not the best map for you, because if you're on the other side of the map, and you start there and your opponent's able to, have a lot of phasing, teleport, carrying, you're going to be fighting a lot of open terrain, open terrain, open terrain. Okay. So you can start to see like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be picking that map. But a lot of times we think in our mind, of course, my opponent will not see the elements of my team until it's too late. And it's like, no. Or it's dumb luck. Okay. Here's a story as I kick my leg up that you may or may not be able to see on camera. Okay, here's a story all about how I turned somebody's life upside down. Let me tell you a little story. Just sit right there. How I picked a side and I didn't care. All right, so in Central Kansas City, I was born and raised. On the heroclix grounds where I spend most of my days. Chilling out, max, relaxing like a fool. I didn't really like that b-ball outside of school. I started playing a game and these guys came out of nowhere. Started causing trouble, and I didn't care. One little match, and I thought, okay, whatever, dude, until they tried to kick me out of school. And that's where I want to end trying to do the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air one, off the top of my head. But pretty much what ends up happening is this guy picks a map. I know the map favors him. I look at his team. I look at both sides of the map. I decide which side works out best for my team. I pick that map, and he groans. And I'm like, okay. So we play out the match. I win. And he's like, how did you know by picking that one side would cause so much problems for my team? And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, it caused problems for your team? Okay. And he explains to me how his side hurts his team. And I'm like, okay. So why'd you pick this map? Well, I was hoping you would pick the other side. Well, no. No. So you can't guarantee that the other person is going to pick the side that you want them to pick. All right? So if you have one side that's bad for you and the other side is good for you, no, that map is not your friend. Okay? So those are the key elements that you definitely need to look at with map. And I know it's like, I need hindering terrain, and I need blocking terrain, and I need water terrain, and this stuff. I fully understand. I need to be able to do this special power, and that special power, and this other special power. I fully understand. But you need to also look a little bit deeper about your map selection. About what does it do for your team? What does it do for your tempo? What does it do to your opponent in getting to you? And more importantly, are you screwed at any point in time on this map? There are a lot of times where in playtesting, all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I'm screwed. They got me in a corner. I didn't even think about that. And yeah, you'll find those like little rare moments, and sometimes you can navigate out of those. Okay? You can be like, oh man, I'm screwed. But I'm able to do this. Oh shoot, this is bad, but I'm able to do this other thing. All right. So there's positives there. Whereas there, a lot of times people will be like, "Oh shoot, I'm screwed. The game's over," which can happen too. All right, so let's as I try to bring Firefox back. Too much A's where my O's should be. Bring Firefox back up, and we're going to go to HC Realms and look at some coolness with the Justice League Trinity War set. Justice League Trinity War, a lot of goodness and a lot of but if you're not really focused on that and you're just mainly looking like, hey, dark logos, tell me what's the new hotness, then lo and behold, I'm going to tell you the new hotness as soon as my browser decides to stop joking around with me. Okay, there we go. All right, so there are several combos that we are definitely going to see, and I already hear the murmurings in the dark pit of the meta peoples of what's coming. So I show as your heroclix pseudo prophet, I will dictate the musings of the dry bones laid before you. All right. First off, I hear rumblings about Rock of Eternity and Pandora's Box, and so far, no one's given me a legit reason why either of them are good. Just other than, hey, Mikey, I like it. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. A lot of folks have noticed like how hard it is to power up Pandora's Box. But if you do, it's awesome, and that I fully understand. Okay, some people are talking about, Catwoman, Indigo Tribe. I can sort of see that. The one element that I think would be slightly interesting, and this is just slightly, is being able to, I think it's Butcher. It's like Catwoman and Butcher. Because I think Butcher is the one that gives everything like Catwoman needs and allows her to be a lot more in your face character. Okay, yeah, that's it. It's Butcher. And so here's why. Like automatically, like all your stats are way better with Butcher. Butcher's stats are way better than all of yours, like for the entirety of your dial. So except for defense at one point, if you need damage reduction, you can get it. But primarily, you're looking at getting move and attack and buffing attack or damage, if you so desire. And then also, since you're base to base, right when you have your Blaze Claw's Fangs, because they're making weird rulings now. You can get a 12 attack, and then you also say Blaze of the Butcher when you use Blaze Claw's Fangs. When he does, Butcher can use Blaze Claw's Fangs when he does add 2 to the result. So that can be murder on somebody. Also, he has the damage power. He also has the damage power is once per turn, a friendly character may reroll a d6 for Blaze Claw's Fangs. So you can combine that either with your blades, or you can get +2 to your blades. So definitely your mid die when you have charge. That's great. It allows you to have charge when you do not have charge. So when you have stealth, you can get charge, and then when you have stealth, you can get charge. That's pretty much it. So Butcher is definitely your friend. You're not going to get into any poison shenanigans, but Butcher was one of the main ones. It was like, yep, think about this in a combo. All right, so that was one of the first characters. It's just like, okay, people are talking about it. There was some, about Dr. Light, the standard Dr. Light, and as a support figure, but I don't see it. I know there was some talk about it. It's like, oh, he's great in Justice League. Oh, it was like, oh, I got Argist and Scientist and no. I will say this though, for 56 points, if you were already looking at the Doctor, this is pretty comparable. I know, like, oh, hey, I don't have The ability to stop mind control, but still, it's not bad. Uh, let's see. Next up is Black Orchid. Black Orchid is definitely one of those. Watch out for Indigo Battery, and she is crazy. She is really crazy strong for what she can do, for how cheap she is. The Justice League Dark element, that may or may not make a play. Not Gen Con or Origins, but I've heard some different conversations about how it's worked out and sealed and how people have liked it. So it does make me think that she's going to be not necessarily a power player, but definitely something for people to be considerate about. Now, here's the one element that you're going to be like, yeah, I talked about it in the figure preview about 2 weeks ago. Vibe. Vibe, 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 vibe. Yes, you are going to see him with a sniper rifle. Like, just get used to it. Just get used to it, because he's Professor X for way cheaper. Way cheaper investment. I know it does just work on hypersonic speed, charge, phasing, teleport, and running shot. I know. But it's mainly the fact that he forces the super mobility meta to calm the heck down. You can't easily one-shot him. You can, but you can't easily do it. The next thing is, if you do one-shot him, you're going to pretty much like all in. He's not going to be at like the forefront of someone's force. He's going to be behind some sort of bodyguard. So you need to have some type of improved movement, ignore his characters. The Trench, get used to them. Get used to seeing them. They are going to be all over the place. The ones from the Gravity Feed and from the main set. Because everyone's going to try to abuse that Atlantis map. And these guys are the core of abusing that Atlantis map. A couple of years ago, I did a show about how the Researcher was the most broken figure in heroclix. Because of how cheap he was, you were able to stack 3 of them on a team and then increase your theme team roll by 3 for, I think it was like 36 points or 45 points, something like that. Same thing with Trench. 2 of these guys they're solid, plus they have blades. Then it's like when a friendly character with a dolphin symbol or transport dolphin symbols is KO'd, you may heal the Trench of 2 damage. So if you kill other Trench, and it doesn't even, it's just whenever a friendly dies, they just heal. So you have to like one-shot them. Then Undersea Predators, the Trench can use charge if it begins its turn occupying water terrain. It can use hypersonic speed. So you either have a choice of hypersonic speed, 10 attack, 2 damage, or charge, 10 attack with blades. That's real good. So when you combine it with all the rest of your stupid stuff that you get, and I do mean stupid, stuff that you'll get with your Atlantis team, just get used to fighting on that Atlantis map, because folks are going to be taking you there as much as they can. Also, the Trench, monster teams. Hear me now, smell me later. Monster teams got a really big boon from the Trench. So definitely be mindful that the Trench are there and are viable. DEO agent, no one's really talked about that too much. There's like, oh, Banshee stealth. That's about it. There's really not much else that's going on that. Atomica is weird. Mainly because we're seeing, I will say this, Johnny Quick is more stupid than I thought he was. In my playtesting, you either hurt him early and he does jack, or he comes out the gate and then just ruins your day for the rest of the time. So the one thing where Atomica comes in is giving Johnny Quick that +1 requires you to like come in, smack somebody, place Atomica next to them, And then you're pretty much saying, on my following turn, I'm not picking up Atomica. I'm going to come back and smack you again from that a specific point. Now, Atomica having poison on top of that, giving Johnny Quick a +1 to his both of their attack values. It's real interesting. It's just real interesting. Then you're able to add on the fact that for Crime Syndicate, technically she can just sit there. If you're building a Crime Syndicate team, she can just sit there. Because is it imperative that Atomica attacks? Nope, she just needs to poison. That's it. And more importantly, she just needs to be in a position where she can just take those tokens and she can like use exploit, and then she also can have access to a shape change when she does, and the attacker has a shared keyword, modify her result by +2. That can be useful, but by the time you get to that point, you've already taken a good hit. I'm just going to be honest. You've already taken a good hit. All right. Let's move on down. And I know... I know there was one more. There was questions about lockdown. Now, Blackgate Guard. Now, the questions that sort of rose up were combining Blackgate Guard with plasticity poison characters and making it do like penetrating damage. But Engineer is going to really hurt your day on that. So I really wouldn't recommend doing that sort of tech. I don't, because Engineer just says, no penetrating, damage. And you really need to have that penetrating poison damage. So poison is not in as good of a place as it was last year. It's still in a good place, but it's not in as good of a place as it was last year. You still do damage, but you have to completely get rid of damage reduction. All right. Next up. Okay, here's some reasons why people are looking at Sea King, and there are several characters that really just need water terrain to do everything. You can put and Sea King's little ability is travel to Prime Earth at the beginning of your turn. You may place up to 6 water terrain markers in any square, at least 5 squares from any player's starting area. Okay. These markers remain until the end of game. So you can just automatically just say, I'm going to set up here, 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 and here. Here's my water terrain. Boom, I can move into it. That is the main advantage of Sea King. And he is Crime Syndicate, so you have access to Prob, and then all those other characters with your Lanteans. Freaking Lanteans. Are able to guarantee to have water terrain. Now, I don't like Sea King. I just don't. It reminds me of a Pokemon. But I do see, again, all these Atlantean teams, all these freaking Atlantean teams coming back. You're going to have to deal with it. Doesn't matter if I like it or not. Is the fact you have, I have CSA ability, and I have Transporter, Dolphin Transporter, and I'm Indomitable. So functionally, I can hypersonic speed anywhere. You're going to come through this square right here, and most of your team is going to be grounded, and this is ranked, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that bit of water terrain there to slow you down. Yep. Have a good day. Bye. So that's... There's a lot of stuff that you can do to control the tempo with Sea King, but he really can't take a hit worth a darn. His stats stay pretty consistent, but the main reason I say he can't take a hit is that his best damage reduction is invulnerable. So, yeah. And then he has so many clicks of 2 damage, but he has blades, which you have a 1 in 3 chance of doing equal to or less damage than what you already had, so... Uh, anyway, well, just keep going on. Next up is Bizarro, because people were talking about Bizarro because of Lex Luthor, and that's it. There's really no reason to be like Bizarro. It's really just Lex Luthor, and most of the meta talk around that is mainly for larger point games. And can I put it on Slosh Bizarro? Yeah. Now the Aquaman can be interesting. I haven't really heard too much chatter about him. The only chatter that I ended up hearing was playing him at 60 points, because you're still able to for 60 points you have a Justice League character and a ruler and an Atlantis person, that's able to charge blades. Or if you can't blades, it's okay, and you're 3 clicks deep. But if you're able to land 2 attacks, you've paid for your cost. If you're able to run a Justice League theme team, it can be really interesting. And I also see some people talking about comboing him with that Batman, with the Batman from the set. So, do I think it's meta? Not quite. But if someone goes to a major tournament with a Justice League theme team, I wouldn't be surprised. That's the best way for me to put it. I would not be surprised. Okay. I know there was somebody else down here that I was hearing something interesting on. It wasn't Stargirl. Oh, no, it wasn't Madame Zandu either. Okay, I'll just tell you this. There's Ultraman 225. A lot of people have been talking about that, and then they just realized that was a mistake. The Owlman conversation. The Owlman conversation is what I think is going to probably like dictate some things for a while. And you're like, what, Owlman? And this is why I'm just saying it. Like 116, mainly ignore hindering terrain. Then having combat reflexes, toughness, and willpower. That's key. Then Owlman can use outwit. Opposing characters with 6 squares can't use outwit to target characters with a higher point value than themselves. So it's mainly the smarter than you know, the improved movement, ignores hindering terrain. The other element is starting to combine his dumb butt with sins. And that's the one element that's like, oh yeah, his range is low, plus he has CSA prob, then he's able to take away your outwit. Combining him, what's that perplex? I think it's is it prize perplex? Sorry, I don't have this. I'm gonna get the sins back up. Okay, no, all right. So yeah, pride gives him energy shield deflection, and then he also automatically starts to just his attack rolls are 11 are critical hits. But it was something else. It was energy shield deflection. This character can use perplex, range value of 10. Yeah, greed, but only target opposing characters assigned a relic. Yeah, so automatically then he can start outwitting and perplexing down. That gave him a lot of value early on. And then there was one more. Envy. I think it was Envy. It would definitely allow his lower point value to be a hell of a lot more cost effective. Like, so much more. Yeah. Okay, so he has a 9 attack. And then you're just able to say, like, okay, I signed Envy to Owlman. I still have all of my things that make me at 50 points. And then if I target somebody with Flurry and then they have an 11 attack, then I'm able to replace them, boom, and do both of my attacks. So if I replace, and I can still modify on top of that. So if I have like my opponent's attack is a 12, I put +2 on my attack, Now I'm able to replace plus modify. Now I have a 14 for my flurry. So, plus I get energy shield deflection on top of my combat reflexes, which gives me a flat 18 no matter what. So, uh, it's definitely a little weird with the Owlman conversation because it puts you in a couple of situations. Do you play Envy in Owlman? Okay, what type of team are you working with there? How many points? Okay, are you running Pandora's Box or are you running Rock of Eternity? Okay, what sort of situation are you going with that? Uh, so it can get complicated. It can get complicated. I don't think he's going to be one of those main characters that you're going to see with lanterns quite yet. Just the tech doesn't seem to like flow towards that lantern path, or the power plant. Book of the Skulls, yes, but that's Book of the Skull, not Skulls. Book of the Skull, yes, but everything else, not so much. Yeah, not so much. All right. I know a few jokers are talking about, oh, put the utility belt on them, and it's like, gotcha. All right. What was it? I thought the Superwoman tech was a joke. Equal to 1 plus the number of squares or part terrain she occupies or is adjacent to. Okay. There was some issue of Mara with Sea King. And I was like, okay, because you can make it so Mara's range is 6 in a certain part. But then that makes her like a very limited sniper. So, but I have heard of that conversation going on. Let's see. I think everybody just hates the outsider. So no one's really talking about the outsider. But go back to what I said about envy, not envy. I think it's pride with perplex. Not pride. Daggone it. Now I was like, I just remembered it, and then I just immediately forgot. Yeah, greed. Sorry, greed. Is the fact that you attach greed onto the CSA outsider, and all of a sudden he is outwit, perplex, prob. Now the perplex, mind you, perplex is down on your opponent's stats, fully aware, plus power action, smoke cloud, plus willpower, and he's stealth, and he's wild card, so he can pick up another team ability like PD to enhance your attack. So your chances of hitting. So there's the outsider again. Fully understand the hate. Fully understand it. But if I was to tell you, okay, people aren't talking about him, that would be a lie. Definitely the CSA one is just people are. Okay, then a different kind of butler when a friendly character uses probability control and an action token would be assigned as a result. You may deal the outsider one unavoidable damage instead. So he could, instead of taking a token, could just take damage. Dimensional Portal, give the outsider a power action and place. Give the outsider a power action and place up to 2 friendly characters that share a keyword with the outsider into squares adjacent to him. Then use Smoke Cloud as a free action. Characters placed this way can't be given a non-free action until your next turn. Now, once you get here, you definitely want some Batman. You really do want some Batman and more Batman. But the other element is that you're able to drop in other characters if you're a little crafty. And you might say, man, what are you talking about, a little crafty? Okay. Now, let's look at Dimensional Portal again. You're able to do the swapping thing if you share a keyword. If you're able to assign a keyword, it gets awesome. Because then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I TK'd out Outsider, and he is part of the Red Lantern Corps. And now I do my magical powers, and boom, I bring out all these Red Lantern guys. Okay, so it's it can be very strong. It can definitely be very strong, and depending on your point value, in higher point games, if you're like, well, I put him on a Legion team, and then I have the Legion ring out there, or I've welcomed him to the Legion, which you could do. Bam, TK him out. Oh, summon Monel on top of you, and Monel with the Green Lantern ring. How do you like that? So I mean, there's options there, but the main thing that I sort of came to was, giving him that sin, giving him perplex. Then he has outwit, perplex, and prob, and he's stealth, and he's willpower, and he's smoke cloud. It's just really, really silly. It's really, really silly. And if you want to like take it a step further, you can give him the wall. If you have the sin on your team, you can just give him the wall from power battery, and now he outwit, perplex, prob plus puts up smoke cloud and puts up a wall for a free action. That's a lot of control. Now at that stage, functionally 76 plus 8. So that's 84 points of value at top dial. That's a lot. Now, I mean, again, you would say like he better do a lot, but that's really the kitchen sink right there. That's the dishes, the kitchen sink, the plumbing, and water flowing through it. So I'm not going to be like, oh, he's sort of sucking and no one's using him right now and no one's talking about him. Like when I started hearing the conversations about him, I was like, oh, really? Come on, you make me sort of hurt inside. So definitely look out for that. Doesn't mean you're going to face him. It's a little bit more weirder, but definitely look out for him. All right, let's keep on going. Now, I know some people are talking about Element Woman, that she's super cost effective, but it's mainly for Seal. I think that's going to pass away. It's just going to pass away. It's not going to be permanent. The only way I see it being permanent is if by chance, and I really do mean by chance, there's some other resource that comes out that allows her to get the mobility that she needs to be offensive and gives her a damage buff. If she gets a damage buff, then I think we might see her a little bit more. Book of the Skulls can be good because then all of a sudden you have charge blades, 12 attack, toughness, but you can also pick impervious with your earth and shape change. So that's really nice. And then you can also get your running shot as well and have your willpower. So I see potential, but I also think like this is going to be a problem. Already talked a lot about Shazam. No one's talking about Shazam but me. Everybody thinks he's overcosted. Freddie Freeman is the obvious one. Hawkman conversations are interesting and sort of fun, but anytime I see Hawkman, it's more in a fanboy conversation than anything else. It's not really about... There's two conversations with Hawkman right now. Conversation number one, comparing him to Kingdom Come Hawkman. Conversation number two is how to manipulate his mobility. That's it. That's the summation of the conversation on him. And I know this episode sort of feels like, this, last week tonight or something like that. But that's really more of the first impressions is what I'm getting. There is some deeper stuff there, but I don't think we're going to see that until probably a month from now. I also think as well what's going to get real silly is that people are going to completely forget about Flash. Just are. Anyway, Deadman. Deadman is... There's some talk of like the, I'm not dying tech coming back, with dead men, but I don't see that being fully as viable with the nerfs to Bizarro. I just don't. And even if you did use like Bizarro as like your time capsule to sort of preserve your team as they come back from the dirt, I I don't see that being as viable as it was in the past. Uh, what was it? The the traits that he has are still solid, but the whose body am I in, dead man can use phasing teleport and shape change. When an adjacent friendly character with a Justice League Dark keyword makes an attack, opposing characters can't use shape change. That part is going to be useful, but it's limited to Justice League Dark. And your Justice League Dark teams, I like them, but I'm not feeling them. I'm really not feeling them in this pure like yeah, Justice League Dark, check it out. Um, Definitely when you're looking at your lineup being Black Orchid, Madame Zandu, I Vampire sucks, Dead Man's okay, Frankenstein is not that great. He's really not. He's just deep for 93 points, but you can blow through most of that rather easily with most ranged attackers nowadays. Um, Tim Hunter is very dependent on having a good mystical on your team. Zatanna is no powerhouse, and Black Orchid from the Fast Forces is way more expensive and not worth um, the value. Um, it's it's not worth the value unless you really need to try to protect a Justice League Dark member. So overall, if you're playing a Justice League Dark theme team, it's like it's horrible. It's really horrible. What you're mainly looking at is like maybe having one or two Justice League Dark members, and then I'm in a larger point game in Tim Hunter, and then putting in other mystical characters and just making a mystical theme team is a lot better. So that in and of itself could be showing up. Where'd it go? The Lex Luthor tech is sort of annoying because I keep it's like more and more and more of it, and it's just like please stop, please stop, please stop. Just I know it's awesome, but it's by the time people just you just tell people like just running shot pulse wave you. Just it. The moment that the attack is initiated and pulse wave initiated, all that stuff on your dial is gone. All your traits, all this other stuff, it's gone. Um, and even more so, let's just read the right under your noses. Lex Luthor begins the game with a subterfuge token on his card. When Lex Luthor has subterfuge token on his card, opposing characters can only target him if they begin the turn adjacent to him. But again, when you're initiating Pulse Wave, it just automatically just gets past that. And it's like when opposing characters targets an opposing character with an attack, remove all. Sorry, when Lex Luthor targets an opposing character with an attack, remove all subterfuge tokens from his card. Now, if there's some ruling on that I'm not aware of, let me know. Just let me know. But to my knowledge, the moment that you initiate Pulse Wave, you just ignore all powers and abilities. It's just right there. But oh well. But I am going to say like you're just going to see him. So just find ways of just either getting up next to him, and like the one thing that he doesn't want to do, in all honesty, is get surrounded by poison. Like getting 2 or 3 poison characters right up on him, he's going to do a pulse wave, but it's only going to do 1 damage to your guys, and it's going to be worth it. All right. What was it? I haven't heard anybody talk about the grid in a in-depth. This is a great character, but I do think the grid has potential for the future. Definitely when you get to his mid dial of opposing characters within 6 squares can't ignore pushing damage. I think that's nice. I don't think you can build a full team around that. his running shot pulse wave at 115 points is a bit weak. But he has a lot of survivability like packed into him. So he has outwit plus shape change. And when grid targets, when a character with a power countered by the grid targets him with an attack, his shape change succeeds on a 3 through 6. So that's pretty cool. It gives you a little bit more survivability on top of your invuln. You have Indom. Posing the Justice League database thing, I don't really like that too much because it really is limited unless we really see a huge influx of Justice League characters. Now, earlier on, like next week and the week after, I'm betting you dollars to donuts you're going to see lots of Justice League characters. So in the immediate meta, Grid is good. In the long-term meta, Grid is not that good. All right. Deathstorm, I hate you, but your sculpt is awesome. Johnny Quick, pure and simple. Be prepared. Like the Lion King says. Be prepared! Because this guy's not going anywhere. He's going to be a meta staple. He is. You're going to have to play in a deal with Johnny Quick or play with Johnny Quick. It's that simple. Play against or play with. He gives me a stress migraine sometimes because Johnny Quick, he doesn't have any evasion up front. So if you're able to load him up with any sort of evasion, he's great. You don't want damage reduction. Here's why. You get damage reduction up front. Only thing he's going to do is take his drugs, take his damage, and then it doesn't do you any good. You want him to take his drugs, zip up, smack somebody, and run back to the medic. That is it. That's it. Also, his little different connection to the Speed Force, the perplex that he gets, it only affects powers on the dial. So it only affects movement powers on the dial. So if Super Scroll or Engineer pick hypersonic speed or something like that, then no, it doesn't affect them. So just sort of keep that in mind. But yeah, Johnny Quick, he's going to be meta. He is meta, and you're going to see him. All right, let's keep going. All right, now I'm going to go down to Sinestro because Blue Devil, everybody's sort of... Blue Devil and Shaggy Man are, you either love them or you don't love them. That's about the summation of what I've been listening to. Sinestro, it's the 200-point Sinestro that everyone is focusing on. The 90-point Sinestro, most of the analysis is that it's not that good. I'm sort of up in the air. I really do like that 90-point Sinestro. But here's the elements that have really sort of come out is the full point Sinestro with the Sinestro battery. And I sort of think that's a problem because, again, you're double dipping. And then some of the teams that I've heard listed with him have been pretty interesting. So it can be a really fun team, but I do think that you're going to see him because he's going to be that easy access noob cannon that folks like. And he's deep. He's not easy to kill. He's very consistent, but at the same time, it's that other 100 points is what you have to be concerned about with him. It's that other 100 points. But primarily the support elements that I've been reading up on him has been really weird. Like, weird. And then sometimes people overdo it with the Sinestro core thing. Like, oh, I'm going to really make sure, like, you're not able to do jack. So it's like Sinestro battery plus Sinestro at 200 and like Rainbow Raider. And it's like, no. So, okay. Superman, again, I think it's going to be more large point games. I've minor talk about the lower point Superman and standard meta. That Batman is... I hate him. He's so stupid. He does so much and so much conversation about him. That's the... At full points and at half dial, He's so good. He's so good. Wonder Woman has just mainly been people complaining. Uh, I'm gonna bring this up. Shout outs to Jake. I played Martian Manhunter against Martian Manhunter at 300 points. I lost to it. I'm man enough to admit that. The main element is losing one action from your action pool. In 300 and 400 point games, I can see this being awesome. In 500 and higher, I don't see this happening. Him being the main sort of controller that could save your team. I just don't see it. I don't see it working out at all. All right. Now the other dials again, it's like, play the. I would really just say play the 200 if you're just trying to do like a Justice League or a Stormwatch team. Like that's the one to sort of come in and start at. It helps your team and does the most. It has the most flexibility. Tim Hunter and Gluttony calling it now, calling it now. Tim Hunter and Gluttony. And oh gosh, like Gluttony, oh gosh, I'll get into that shortly. But the main reason is Tim Hunter and Gluttony is they're both mystical, and then it's the fact that you're getting two chances potentially in a melee situation to steal a relic from to remove a relic from the resource that's attached to a character, and then that character can't get more attachments. So that in and of itself is a huge deal. Then also the fact that he'll only take one damage while he's adjacent to Gluttony. That's a key element. Now, why is that a key element? Because then you don't have to worry about playing White Lantern Power Battery. Because if you get any splash damage, you're only going to take one. If your opponent targets or it actually hits Tim Hunter, you're only going to take one. So it really puts Tim Hunter in a position where if they keep dinging him with splash damage, he's going to eventually hit God mode and then make everybody regret that they did that. So Tim Hunter, definitely one to watch out for this meta in particular. Just ugh. All right. Yeah, let's move on. Oh, Mahazas. Everybody's like, Mahazas makes a grown man cry. If you're able to get the hits in. If you're able to get the hits in, Mahazas has done a lot in sealed and on larger point games. He hasn't done that much from what I've read in a constructed game. And we'll see. If he gets going, we'll see. Black Adam as well. I heard the same thing. Like, you put Black Adam on the team and this. And I'm like, no. It's not worth it. All right. Real quick, just going into the conversations on Gluttony, because no one's really talking about Wrath, which is on them. But the main issue is Gluttony. And I think I said Greed before, but having him next to Gluttony. Tim Hunter next to Gluttony. But Gluttony is a major problem in the meta for people right now for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of people don't realize like you need to just have TK with him. Because I've read like I can't carry him. And I'm like, so that was one thing. And then other people was like, well, I just want him to get in there and make attacks, but he's so slow. And it's like you just TK him, and you give him a sniper rifle, and that's it. That's how you fix him. That's pure and simple. TK, sniper rifle. TK, sniper rifle. Who would have thought? Okay, and then it's like Aura of Rotten Decay. Gluttony can use exploit weakness. When Gluttony hits the opposing character, remove any relic and resource. Now, this part is the super awesome great part. Okay. Him having still energy, awesome and great. Uh, Him being able to poison and just sit next to you and do damage is great. I mean, just overall, Gluttony is going to be a interesting figure. I know it's like, okay, well, yeah, damage reduction. Yeah, I need to pack outwit. Getting him outwit is great. Uh, that's the fun part about him. The other little trick with Gluttony that hasn't really been talked about is Gluttony can assign his little relic, and it says this character uses combat reflexes and sidestep. Give this character a free action and destroy an adjacent wall or square of blocking terrain. Now, this is why it's a huge deal, and I'm going to try to demonstrate it as best as I can. You have opposing character A, wall, and sidestep poison gluttony guy, or sorry, sidestep poison. The person using you have and then gluttony user. You're able to, as a free action, beginning of the turn, destroy that wall or blocking terrain. Sidestep poisoner comes through, and then boom, you can poison. I didn't really like it at first until I started realizing all the different things that I can do. Other thing, oh, I have gluttony. Oh, you have the wall. Oh, I just move up here, and I take out that wall. Hey, you know my sharpshooter, awesome friend that has 6 damage and range combat expert and 13 attack? Like to say hey. Like to say hey. So that in particular can is one of those weird things with gluttony of a lot of folks haven't really thought about, oh, okay, gluttony gives combat reflexes and gluttony gives sidestep. And these are great. But it's mainly the fact that I can use that for poison and I can use that to counter this wall meta that's going on. And I think that's a really weird problem that's going on, is that folks aren't admitting that we have a wall problem and that there's a lot of people just using a lot of free walls to protect themselves from a lot of different attacks. And I mean, ranks is the main culprit, and I can't lie, I'm one of those people. But if we look at it, it really creates a situation where the wall map limits accessibility. And I mean, sorry, not the wall. Ranks limits accessibility. The wall limits accessibility. And the greed construct, the greed relic allows you to get more accessibility. So it's a lot more aggro than people want to admit. At the same time, since greed doesn't have this ability built in, you have to have somebody that's like right there with him to use that ability. So it's just a thought. Again, Wrath. Oh man, silliness to be had. No one's talking about him. I sort of like that. So if you use him, definitely keep it on the underground. Don't promote it too much. Mainly the fact that you can assign the sniper rifle to him and he can attack. Also the fact that you can combine him with a few other characters, and then it's like, oh hey, guess what, guy? Are you have double power action, right? You're sort of stuck there, right? I'm gonna charge you in the face with an ultra heavy, and because you attacked previously, I'm going to give you battle fury, and I'm gonna get +1 of my damage. Have a good day. Have a good day. So I really like that. I really like that a lot. Now at 117 points, it could be a little bit of a problem, but when we start looking at Wrath's relic, he gives out combat reflexes, sidestep, and willpower, and the ability to opposing characters can't use shape change, adjacent opposing characters. So you can put that on another melee character, or you're just trying to assign willpower. That is a huge deal for his ability. So definitely, even just saying, I just need to assign willpower. That's a game changer right there. The sidestep combat reflexes is just nice. So, all right. That's today's show. Thank you for listening. I know it's been a really long show, definitely considering I'm going back through the set again, but I'm mainly just bringing up the elements that I've seen occur in conversation. Mainly from the set, not necessarily like characters outside the set. We're going to bring this back. Because really, what's unfortunate, a lot of that mindset really goes away in the first few weeks of the set. All right, so you can hit me up at Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me, man, I really, really want to watch more Flash. Man, the season's over. I think it's like episode 14. I haven't seen a new episode for a while. Flash. Oh, well, Flash so bad. So, yeah. I'm just jacking with you. All right, so now, yeah, I do want Flash, but if you're watching, just my face. Also, you can hit the subscribe button somewhere up, down, left, or right. Around here is the subscribe button, and it helps me up my position on the YouTubes. That's pretty much why people tell you to subscribe, is so that they are upped in the rankings to be viewed, so that they can get more subscribers, so they can get up more in the rankings. Pretty much it. I'm trying to catch up to Mary with Clicks slightly. Just slightly. All right, next up, you can check out the blog at startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. You can donate to the show. If you want to hire me for my services as a tutor, you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Also, if you want any general team help, I won't build your team from scratch, but if you have some general ideas, I can help you cobble some stuff together so that it works for you. And I think that's it. Oh man, I'm real hungry. I told my mom I'd leave her some muffins, but I think I'm probably going to back out on that. All right. Thanks for listening. And remember, we all have to do the robot sometime.